You are listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe of Torch in Houston, Texas. This is the Living Jewishly podcast.
All right, welcome back, my dear friends, to the Living Jewishly podcast. We are in another episode discussing the laws of interruption during Shema. Last time we talked, we discussed the laws of Kaddish, the laws of Borchu, the laws of calling to prayer. Now we're going to talk about interruptions, particularly regarding interruptions during Shema and the Shema blessings. So if you remember, and for those of you who are online, in the description you'll have a link to these sheets, so you can join along with us. This is Halacha number 16. And we're going to be in the part that says about the blessings of the Shema and the Shema. So there are two blessings prior to the Shema, the blessing of Yotzer and the blessing of Ahava Rabbah. And then we have Shema. There are three portions in Shema, V'ahavta, V'hayim Shemoah, and Vayomer. And then we have the blessing of redemption. So when a person is in the middle of this prayer and there's any type of interruption of any sort, are they allowed to stop or not? And we're going to discuss that today. Halacha number 1. The Shema and its three blessings, Yotzer Or, Ahava Rabbah, and Emes V'Yatziv, or known as the blessing of the redemption, are more stringent than Psuke de Zimra that we mentioned previously with regards to interruptions and responding to blessings. One should only interrupt between the following sections, between the end of Yotzer and the beginning of Ahava Rabbah. So if you open up a siddur, you will see that there is an actual blessing, and after that blessing is a point that you can stop and interrupt. So over here, after we say Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer HaMe'aros, that's the end of one blessing, and then begins the next one of Ahava Rabbah. So now, over here, if someone hears Kaddish, he hears Kedusha, he hears someone say a blessing, he can answer Amen in between the sections. Each one of these is called its own section. Now, there are 4 spaces in the blessings of the Shema that one can stop in between. Not to talk, not to schmooze, not to catch up with a friend, but only for a matter of holiness. Between the end of Ahava Rabbah and the beginning of Shema, between the end of Shema and the beginning of V'haya im Shemoah, and between the end of V'haya im Shemoah and the beginning of Vayomer. Between these sections, one may answer Amen, and certainly Kaddish and Kedusha and Borchu may be responded to. Between sections, one should avoid answering Baruchu uvaruch Shemo, which is after someone says the name of Hashem, we say Baruchu uvaruch Shemo, blessed is He and blessed is His name. Number 5, if one is between sections and hears the congregation reciting the Shema, he should not recite it with them because he's in the middle of a section. He's in the middle of a blessing. But rather, he should cover his eyes and recite what he's up to aloud as if he's reciting the Shema with the congregation. As if he's reciting it with the congregation. So it should appear that he's reading aloud with them. What happens? The whole congregation saying the Shema, and there you are, you're not covering your eyes like everyone is doing for the Shema, and you're not saying anything aloud. People are going to say, oh, he's not appreciative of the Almighty. He's sort of in a rebellious state where he's not praying with the congregation, not thanking Hashem. So what do? You can't stop. You're in the middle of a blessing. So what you do is, with everyone, when they're saying the Shema, they're saying Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, you cover your eyes, so it looks like you're saying with everyone else. And whatever you're in the middle of saying, say aloud while everyone is saying aloud as well the Shema. Midsection of any of the 3 Shema blessings, one should not respond Amen to a blessing except after the Chazan recites the blessings of Hakel HaKadosh and Shomea Tefillah in the repetition of the Amidah. So those 2 blessings in the repetition of the Amidah, one can say Amen mid-section for those blessings. Additionally, one should always respond to Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah for Kaddish in the middle of a section. So if their congregation is saying Kaddish, and he's in the middle of one of those blessings, he can answer Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah only. If one is in the middle of a section and hears the Kedusha, he may only respond with the congregation for Kadosh, 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 and for Baruch Kivod Hashem Imkamo, and remain silent for all the other parts of Kedusha. If one hears the calling of Borchu from the Chazan, again, it's the call to prayer, or from someone called up for an aliyah, he may respond, Baruch Hashem HaMevorach. If one hears the congregation reciting the rabbinic modim while he's in the middle of a section, he's in the middle of a blessing, he should bow with them and say only the first 3 words in unison with the congregation. If one hears thunder, there are differing opinions if it warrants interrupting the prayer to recite the special blessing for lightning and thunder. Regarding all of the above-mentioned interruptions midsection, one should make sure not to stop in the middle of an idea. So if you're in the middle of a verse, you're in the middle of something, get to the end of the verse, the end of the idea, and then you can answer. If one is in the middle of the Shema, caution should be taken not to stop in the middle of a verse. If one did interrupt in the middle of a verse, by mistake, they should repeat the entire verse again after the interruption. One should never stop for any interruption in the middle of reciting the Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and the following Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Since during these holy parts of prayer, one shouldn't even interrupt in response to a king's greeting. So imagine King Charles is walking by in your synagogue and says, hello, and you're in the middle of reciting the Shema, you don't answer. You're talking to Hashem, creator of heaven and earth, the king of all kings, king of flesh and blood, definitely does not come first. Number 16, one should not either stop for any interruption between emes and v'yatziv, or Hashem Elokechem emes. So that part between the end of the Shema and the beginning of the next blessing, the blessing of redemption, should not have any interruption in between. Nowadays, since people don't take offense if a friend doesn't reply hello while in the middle of prayer, so if you walk over to your friend and you say hello and they don't respond, you realize they're in the middle of praying. Of course they're not going to answer. No one's going to take offense to that. He should therefore avoid any response of hello to the greeting of their fellow, even between sections. So if it's possible for you to avoid any type of communication, any type of interruption in middle of prayer, it is best to do so. And that concludes the laws of interruptions during the blessing of Shema. Next week, we're going to discuss the laws of Shema and the actual prayer, the most powerful prayer, the mission statement of the Jewish people that we declare every single day, thrice daily. All right, my dear friends, have a terrific day.